Why did Jimin change with Jungkook? Jungkook's answer made me cry. In a world full of highlights and cameras that never stop staring, the relationship between BTS members is often the subject of endless talk. They are not only colleagues, but also a family that grew up together, going through various difficult periods from adolescence to becoming world superstars. However, behind the laughter on stage and warm smiles on screen, there is sometimes an invisible distance, and this time the highlight is the relationship between Jimin and Jungkook. Armies around the world have been excited lately after seeing the interaction that feels different between the two youngest members of BTS. Many noticed that Jimin seemed more reserved when he was with Jungkook in the last few moments. Those who were once known to be very close, often joking, teasing each other, even sharing warm moments in front of the camera, now look a little awkward, as if something is no longer the same. The question arises, what really happened? Why did Jimin turn against Jungkook? For years, Jimin and Jungkook were known as a duo full of energy and warmth. Jimin has always been a gentle, caring figure, while Jungkook is a passionate yet sensitive magne. They have such a natural bond, like brothers and sisters who complement each other. Jimin is often seen calming Jungkook down when he is nervous, and Jungkook is always the first to make Jimin laugh. But lately the relationship seems more cold. There was also speculation among fans. Some think that their personal busyness makes the time together less and less. Jungkook, who is now focusing on his solo activities, and Jimin, who is also undergoing a busy schedule, seem to live in two different worlds. But in the midst of all the issues and confusion, Jungkook finally opened his voice. In an interview that initially seemed ordinary, he suddenly gave an answer that made many people could not hold back tears. When an interviewer touched on the relationship between BTS members and asked how his relationship with Jimin was now, Jungkook was silent for a moment. He took a deep breath, then looked down with a slight smile that looked full of meaning. "I think everyone can change," he said quietly. "But it's not a bad thing. Sometimes we grow in different directions, but that doesn't mean we stop caring about each other." That simple remark sounded calm, but it harbored deep emotions. Jungkook then continued with a slightly trembling voice. "I know a lot of people think our relationship is changing, and it may be true in some ways, but it's not that we're not close anymore, it's just that we've grown up. We used to be together all the time, but now we have our own responsibilities, dreams and lives. But Jimin Hyung, he's still the person I've always respected and loved." The words made the atmosphere of the studio suddenly quiet. Jungkook smiled a little, as if trying to calm the hard-to-explain feelings. Sometimes people think that if we are rarely seen together, then we are distant. In fact, not all closeness should be visible. I know you've always prayed for me, and I've always prayed for him. Maybe we haven't talked much lately, but I know if I fall, he'll still be the first one to come. Jungkook's remarks immediately went viral on social media. Thousands of comments poured in from ARMY around the world, many claiming to cry at the honesty. Many say that a sincere relationship does not always have to be shown. Sometimes the love between brothers is seen precisely from silence, from understanding each other without having to say much. And that's what happened between Jimin and Jungkook. A few days later, Jimin finally spoke in his live broadcast. In a soft voice, he alluded to Jungkook without mentioning his name directly. "There are times when we can't always be in the same place, but that doesn't mean we forget," he said. "I'm proud of that guy. I saw how he worked hard even when no one was looking. I know he always does his best." The sentence moved many, as it felt like a tacit reply to Jungkook's previous statement. Their relationship may change not in the sense of moving away, but in the sense of growing. From two teenagers who always depend on each other to two adult men who appreciate each other from afar. For many of ARMY, Jimin and Jungkook's relationship has always been one of the most emotional aspects of BTS's journey. They grew up under tremendous pressure, facing a harsh world with millions of eyes always watching. It is natural that over time, both choose different ways to protect themselves and their feelings. But what never changes is mutual respect and sincere affection. In another moment, Jungkook even wrote a short message about friendship on his personal account. "Sometimes I miss those days when we could all laugh without thinking about anything. But I am also grateful that now we can understand each other without having to say a lot. The message, despite not mentioning anyone by name, again brought tears to fans' eyes, because it felt so honest and tender, Jungkook's trademark that always touches the heart. Maybe the relationship between Jimin and Jungkook isn't what it used to be, but maybe they're stronger than ever. Because maturity is not always shown by physical closeness, but by a silence of mutual understanding. When two hearts are already bound by experience, no distance can truly separate, and perhaps in silence Jimin and Jungkook were still staring at each other from afar, proud of each other, praying for each other as they walk their respective paths. They are no longer two boys who flirt with each other in the dorm, but rather two men who learn to face life calmly, with wounds and love that grow in the same place. Hearts that used to protect each other in youth. So when people ask, why did Jimin change towards Jungkook? Perhaps the answer is not that they stay away, but because they have grown. Because maturity does make people not always together but never really apart. And when Jungkook said in a calm tone, "She's still the person I've always respected and loved as much as I used to," the world knew that love hadn't gone away. It just changes shape. And perhaps even now, it has become more sincere than ever. Jungkook's words continued to resonate in ARMY's hearts for days. Many wrote on social media how each sentence felt like an open letter addressed not only to Jimin, but also to everyone who has ever felt loss, change, and distance in a relationship that was once so close. Because what they experience is not just the story of two world idols, but also a real-life portrait about how time can change closeness without erasing love in it. Every relationship goes through phases of ups and downs. And for Jimin and Jungkook, two figures who have known each other since their teens, the journey was certainly not easy. They once shared dreams in BTS dorm room, shared meals in the middle of the night, and calmed each other down when the pressure of the world seemed too much. Now, when the two have walked their respective paths, the silence between them is not a sign of separation, but a pause to grow, breathe, and understand the meaning of true maturity. In another interview, Jungkook talked about how he feels when he sees BTS members living their lives. He said, "I used to be afraid of losing those moments. But now I'm learning that true love isn't about always being together. It's about always being there, even from afar." That sentence made the atmosphere in the room suddenly quiet, and ARMY knew Jungkook was not talking about light things. He grew up with people who became his family. Jimin is not just a coworker, but also someone who knows what it's like to be a little Jungkook, who is still looking for identity in the big world called K-pop. Jimin was once the place Jungkook leaned when he was exhausted, someone who patted him on the shoulder backstage before performing,